Welcome to Scrappin with Sheri, Thanksgiving edition. Now I say that because today I'm going to show you a couple of Thanksgiving pages. They'll be pre-designed and ready to go for those Thanksgiving pictures. But I also want to give you some practical tips about taking your Thanksgiving pictures to make your pages the best they can be. So stay tuned as we go through. Stay tuned till the end so I can tell you some tips and tricks about making the best pictures that you can make for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be showing you the This Life Simple Page Kit number 11. I believe this one sold out. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it did. These are so easy, so fun to make, and I'm excited to share this with you because I'm going to do another one of this Simple Page Kit using some other papers to show you how easily you can take this design and make it onto another page. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at my sketch here, and I'm just going to measure these little things on the back of this page really quickly. So when I'm looking at this, well, I can't measure that way. I'm seeing that each of these lines are a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to take my little pen and do 1/2 inch right here. It's a 1/2 inch by 12. Then these at the top are very close to 1 inch, probably not quite, but that would be 1 inch by 11 inches, and that's both of those. This larger space right here is about 5.5 by 10 1/4. 5.5 by 10 1/4. Actually, it's going to be close to 10 if I cut those at 1 inch, because I've got to have that 10 inch, 10 and 2 right there. This other space is going to be about 6 inches tall by 5.5. And then this little area down here is a 3.5 by 5.5. Now you may be thinking that's a lot of work to do a simple page kit. The only reason I did that was so I can recreate this again later. Now you know with the simple page kits, well, maybe you don't know. The simple page kits come with the background paper, they come with this sheet to cut apart, and they come with stickers. And basically all the hard work is done for you. So all we've got to do is cut on these little lines, and this kit will be done. I challenge my customers occasionally to see how quickly we can get these done. And if you're watching my cutting, you're seeing I'm not cutting directly on the line just because my cutter's a little off today, or I am a little off today. It's not a big deal. And that's the beauty of these simple page kits. They're easy to get done in 5 minutes or less. Even taking the time to measure, it's not going to take us very long. And there's no real magic way to cut these. You just need to look for the pieces that are full length first and cut those first. But once we've cut them, and you can see because I didn't cut directly on the lines very well, I'm leaving a little edge here and there. We're just going to put these here. And how do you know where to put them? You look at your sketch. We've got this going across here. We've got these two that are going to go across here. And this one is an up and down with a side one here. Now, my red ones are good. I am going to go back and use my little trimmer and cut those little jaggedy edges off because that may or may not bother me. Today it's bothering me, so I am going to take those off. And all we got to do is butt this right up against the bottom of that. You can see my tape went a little wide. So let's talk about the Thanksgiving pictures. If you're looking at this layout already and you've not taken your Thanksgiving pictures, one thing you're already noticing about it is very heavy on vertical pictures. So, if you know that about your layout in advance, what are you going to do when you have your Thanksgiving meal? You're going to focus on taking some vertical pictures. Now, when I'm looking at it, I've got the sketch to the side. There's 3 verticals, larger size, 2 horizontals, and another vertical. You know, with me developing my own pictures, I can fix that. But what if your pictures just don't lend themselves to verticals? I mean, what if you're taking group shots and you've got a large group of people? Like we have 4 generations a couple of different ways when we get together for Thanksgiving. And some of those are just not good as verticals because the group is too wide. So what if you don't have vertical pictures? Well, take the ones that you can as verticals. If you can't make them work as a vertical, take them, but leave yourself a little bit of editing room. But I would also encourage you to take filler pictures. Now, what are filler pictures? Those would be the pictures you take of the decorations, of the food that you have. If your family has interesting traditions, if you have foods that you always have at Thanksgiving, take pictures of those. If you've got a special pie that somebody always makes for Thanksgiving, take pictures of those kinds of things. Those are great filler pictures if you need them. Because what we're doing in developing our own pictures, occasionally we need an extra one. Occasionally we need something that's just a little bit different orientation. But don't always zoom up as close as you can on all these pictures, which is something that we got used to doing with digital cameras. We would zoom just as close as possible. But what I'm finding in developing my own pictures is occasionally I need that extra space to turn a vertical into a horizontal or vice versa. So don't always zoom directly in on your pictures as close as possible. We can do that in our editing once we figure out how they're going to go on our layout. Another thing that I've found in taking my pictures particularly is the fact that we have several smaller children. I wouldn't say little children, but we have several smaller children. With one of our gatherings, we're going to have 2 toddlers and a baby, if everything works out. Those pictures I like to take on live mode. And if you don't know what live mode on your phone is, you need to check into that. But if you will take some of those pictures on live mode, now let me caution you, if your lighting is not good or if they're moving extremely fast, live mode is not as helpful. But I take tons of pictures on live mode with the kids or with anything action related. And doing that live mode, it gives you the ability to go back in your editing and choose the best of the best when objects are in motion. So I do like the live mode. All right, so we've got that basic layout done. It looks exactly like this, but now we can go back and add our stickers. Now, I probably will not add everything here and here yet because I don't know how my pictures will play out. I might end up doing several horizontal pictures down through here. But I do know for the most part that some strips of pumpkins along the bottom here are not going to change anything about my layout. And all I'm doing is covering the seam on that. Just kind of making the spacing even. And then I'll do the same thing with this one. And this one I'm going to start right here in the center because I do want the centers to match up. Even if nothing else really does. I would like for the center of that border to be about the same. And the easiest way to check those, I've got a little bubble right there. The easiest way to check side to side is to go to this end and make sure that this end is also matching up. And see, I kind of pulled a little bit until my paper is wrinkling. So, we have this Thanksgiving layout done except for the embellishment stuff. But I'll keep this with this because this shows us a great way to lay out embellishments. And those 2 pages will be ready for pictures very soon. Now let's look at a way we can use those measurements that we wrote down from the Simple Page Kit to make another couple of pages. In our family, we have Thanksgiving with one side of the family, then we have Thanksgiving with the other side of the family. And I pulled these papers. These were from a kit that we were able to get, I think, in 2023, early 2024. Just covered a lot of holidays. But I've got some leftovers from different fall papers that I've had in the past. And I thought they would be fun to use for this particular layout. Now, remember these little 1/2-inch strips that we had before? I'm going to use this to cut those 1/2-inch strips. I just really liked this with the words. Autumn, blessed, thankful. That just seems appropriate for Thanksgiving. Now, when I cut that, obviously, not a lot of those words are going to show, but I'm going to get the feel of it anyway. Then I also had these 1x11s, and I'm going to also make them out of this scrap. These page kit ideas are another great way to use up some of your scraps. I think the page kits have been one of the greatest things, and they are coming back for the new year, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, remember, these were 1x11s, so I'm going to go ahead and cut those at the 1-inch mark just to make them 11 inches. The page kits make things simple. It's a free idea on top of everything else, and I love that part. All right, now I'm looking at this. I could have cut this whole sheet and used the front and back, but I didn't really love the acorns against what I had going on. But I do want this wood grain. So with the wood grain, I'm trying to make it so my wood grain is going to look this direction, which means I need a 5.5 by 10, and that's going to be 10 this way, 5.5 this way. Yeah, you are going to have to finagle your thought processes a little bit with this. Let's say 5.5. And then to make it 10, I need to cut off 2 inches here. So I know that's going to be the background on that side of the page. And then for this side, I need a 6 by 5.5. Let's see how much we've got there. All right, we want 6-inch wide. And then we're going 5.5 this direction. That seems really small. Okay, I think it's working. Just for a second, it didn't look right, but I think it's right. And then we're going to go 3.5 by 5.5 on this one. Now, if you used cardstock for this, you wouldn't have any directional things to worry about. Because of the wood grain here, I am looking at directions. But let's see if we've even got this anywhere close to what we were looking at on the sketch. Now, remember, they've got a lot of extra background pieces. We don't have those necessarily because I used this leaf paper that I already had. And we're going to have that there, this here, and then we can go, these were going to be top borders, and you know what I'm saying? I'm saying that we're going to have to add in a little more color. Do like the words. So if we were to add a little more color in this center section, like they had with the oranges here, what colors could we add? I mean, easily enough, I'm looking at it. I'm liking this reddish color right here. So let me pull a piece of that. Perhaps even a blue. You know how I am about blue. Maybe we should pull some blue. Let me see what I can find. So I've pulled some blues. I went ahead and pulled these 2 blues from the denim collection because I felt like this really ties in with the blue here. And the good thing about this is you don't have to match specific papers to specific collections. But in looking at the sizing, we've got about 1 inch on the ends because we know these strips were 11 inches long. So we know we need about an 11 inch. We've got a couple of inches here, 1 inch or so here. So I'm going to cut my paper at about 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to make it so these stripes go up and down this way. So I need to cut the 11 off of this side, which means just cutting 1 inch off. And then to get our 8.5, we need to cut off 3.5. Now those are great pieces to use on another page. The reason I went with blue on this, there are 2 reasons I went with blue. One is I love blue, and it was easy for me to get to this and to find a color quickly that matched what I had going on. The second reason is a lot of us wear jeans when we get together for Thanksgiving, so I think the denim just kind of pulls it all together. And I'm going to add these. Now, obviously, this is not going to come together quite as quickly as the Simple Page Kit, but still pretty quick and still cute. Now, what could you do for a background if you don't have leaves? Any kind of background would work. I mean, anything muted, anything with some lighter prints to go along. Anything that has several colors that you could use to tie in all these colors you're doing in the center. You see me get that so crooked right there? You can let your background paper tie it all together, or you can let your embellishments tie it all together. You can let sticker strips tie it all together. You just need something that coordinates all your colors. For me, it was pretty simple because I did have this leaf paper stuck back, and this leaf paper allows me to choose lots of different options, which is perfect for fall. This would also make a really pretty Christmas layout. Maybe we'll do it again with Christmas paper another day. So we're going to add those right along the bottom there. And that red on the back of that's really pretty. If I didn't want the words, I could always use the red on the back. These are from various fall collections, and I like the way that they seem to tie together. Our fall collections tend to have a lot of the same colors, but then last year's fall had a blue more along this color. This year's fall collections had more of the teal color. So Creative Memories is mindful of the changes in designs and patterns and colors from year to year. Okay. So this is starting to take shape, and I really am liking the look of it. So we've got these. And, you know, another thing I was keeping in mind as I was thinking about colors here is the fact that I'm developing everything in white with a white border around it. So having these darker backgrounds is going to be really complementary to the white borders I develop on my pictures. You might want to keep that in mind. If you go somewhere for Thanksgiving where everything is dark, you might want to use lighter colors for your backgrounds. If you go to a place where everything is really light and bright, you might want to use darker colors here. Well, I'm really liking this page. I think it's really pretty. I do love the denims and the wood grains together. I am kind of a country girl, if you didn't notice that. And I'm thinking towards embellishments. Of course, I'm going to wait a little bit about doing those until I get some pictures to go with this. But I think even some of the embellishments I have left over off of that Simple Page Kit would work with this because of the color scheme. Now, one thing that I did pull that I'm going to go ahead and use, and I'm debating so hard back and forth on this, I've got this leaf thing, which is pretty. It pulls out the yellowy colors in that because I want a border to go right along the seam. The acorns are pretty. They pull out the brown of this. I really love this, and everything in me screams to use it. The problem is I just don't think the blues are quite the same color, but they're so very close. I think I'm going to go with it. The more I look at it, the more I think they're not exactly the same, but they sure are close. And I'm going to go up just a little bit so I don't cover up all of my words in doing this. The blues are not exactly, but I think there's enough color going on that I'm going to be all right with that. All right, and let's do our other one. So, as I'm finishing up, let's recap what we're thinking about for Thanksgiving pictures, because we're going to be taking those the next few days. You need to, if you are doing your layout like this, you're going to need to focus on some vertical pictures, taking them up and down. If you just can't get the up and down pictures, take horizontal ones, but try to leave yourself some editing space. That editing space is going to make a huge difference in changing horizontals to verticals. If you have lots of children in your life, try using the live mode, because that'll give you a lot of opportunities to pick the best of the best. If you're just not sure you're going to have enough pictures, or you're not sure the orientation, take filler pictures. Take pictures of traditions. Take pictures of the food. Take pictures of people that are getting older in your family that may not be with you for Thanksgiving next year. Take pictures of any traditional things that your family does. Even have kids in your family write down the things they're thankful for. Those are great fillers for these pages. So we've got two two-page spreads ready for Thanksgiving already. So I want you to tune in on Saturday, because on Saturday I will be showing you how to take those pictures from your phone, send them to the Epson PM400 and develop them so you can get the very best layouts with the pictures that you have taken. And until I see you next time, happy Thanksgiving and happy scrapping.